You got a raise this year, 3%, maybe 5 if you fought for it. You worked harder, you took on more, you earned it. Meanwhile, someone who did absolutely nothing, didn't work a single hour, didn't attend one meeting, got richer than you did. And here's the thing that'll annoy you. It wasn't a conspiracy, a loophole, or a scam. It was arithmetic. There are two completely different machines for making money in this world, and almost nobody explains that you're standing on the slower one. So let's look at both machines honestly and see exactly where they split. Stick around. You've felt this even if you've never had words for it. Your income goes up. Your life doesn't seem to. You earn more than you did 5 years ago, and somehow the house is further away, not closer. The goalposts move faster than you run, and the strange part is that nothing about your effort changed. You're not lazier. You didn't stop trying, and the usual explanations don't quite satisfy, do they? Work harder? You did. Budget better? Sure, but you can't budget your way to owning a house. Get a better job? Helps, genuinely, but the gap seems to widen anyway. That's because the gap isn't mainly about effort or income. It's about the type of money you have. And there are exactly two types. Machine one is labor. You sell your time and you get paid for it. And labor has a very specific mathematical shape. It adds. You work a month, you get a month's pay. You work the next month, you get the same again. A raise bumps the size of each block a little, but the shape never changes. You're stacking blocks, one at a time, by hand. And labor has a hard ceiling built into it. There are only so many hours in a day, and you have to be there for every single one of them. Stop showing up, and the machine stops instantly. Machine 2 is capital, owning things that earn. Shares in companies, property, a business. And capital has a completely different shape. It multiplies. Because when an asset earns, you can reinvest what it earned, and now the new money earns too. That's compounding, and it's the difference between stacking blocks and blocks that quietly build more blocks while you sleep. Here's the number that matters. Wages tend to grow roughly in line with the economy. A few percent a year, and after inflation, sometimes barely at all. Assets have historically tended to grow faster than that. Not dramatically faster, just a bit. And just a bit forever is the most powerful force in finance. Give those two lines 20 years and they aren't close. Give them 40 and they're not on the same chart. Same country, same economy, same decade. Two people, two machines, two completely different outcomes. Neither one worked harder than the other. And that's the genuinely cruel bit about compounding. It looks pathetic for years. The curve is nearly flat at the beginning, so flat that most people conclude it isn't working and step off. All the drama happens late, which means the reward goes to whoever was boring for the longest. So the obvious response is, fine, get on the second machine. And that's genuinely the answer. But here's why it's not as easy as just invest. And this is the part that actually explains the gap. Compounding needs two ingredients, surplus and time. Surplus is money left over after you've paid for existing. Rent, food, transport, the essentials. And that's the squeeze. When your income mostly covers your costs, there's nothing left to put on the escalator, no matter how disciplined you are. It's not a discipline problem, it's a subtraction problem. Meanwhile, someone with a large surplus can put a big chunk of income into assets every month without feeling it. Economists have a slightly grim name for this. A snowballing effect, where high earners save at high rates, those savings buy assets, those assets generate more income, and that income buys more assets. Round and round. And there's a second, less obvious squeeze. Remember our inflation video? Money sitting still quietly loses value. So the person holding cash isn't standing still. They're sliding backwards. While assets, being real things, tend to rise as the currency weakens. Then there's the ingredient nobody can buy back, time. Money invested at 25 has decades to multiply. The same money at 55 doesn't. Which is why inheritance matters so much in this story. Not because of the sum itself, but because it hands someone the escalator early. And early is the whole game. That's how the effect runs across generations rather than restarting each time. Now this is where I have to be straight with you, because this topic attracts a lot of confident nonsense in both directions. What's not really disputed is the mechanism. Assets compound, wages don't, and returns on capital have often outpaced wage growth. That's the machine, and you can see it in the data. What is genuinely argued about is nearly everything around it. How permanent the gap is, whether it's a built-in feature of the system or a product of the last few decades' specific conditions, interest rates, globalization, technology. How much is explained by ownership versus education, luck, or policy? And what, if anything, should be done about it? Serious economists disagree, loudly, and I'm not going to pretend that's settled or tell you which side to pick. I'd also flag the thing that gets left out of the angry version of this story. Capital isn't costless. Assets fall, businesses fail. Someone who put everything into the wrong thing at the wrong time didn't compound. They lost. The escalator isn't guaranteed, and pretending it is would be its own kind of lie. What is useful, and what nobody teaches, is simply knowing the two machines exist and which one you're standing on. So, what do you actually do with this? First, the reframe. The goal isn't to earn more, it's to convert some of what you earn into things that earn. That's the entire difference between the two machines. A raise makes your treadmill slightly faster. Buying an asset gets one foot onto the escalator, even a small one. And it doesn't require being rich to start, which is the part most people get wrong. Compounding doesn't care about the size of the number, only about the years. It cares far more that you started than that you started big. Now, I'm not telling you what to buy, and this genuinely isn't financial advice. Assets carry real risk, they can and do fall, and everybody's situation is different. Some people have no surplus at all right now, and no amount of clever framing changes that. For them, the honest answer is that this is a system problem, not a personal failure. But understanding the machine changes the questions you ask. Not just, how do I earn more, but how much of what I earn is still working for me next year? That second question is the one the escalator people have been asking the whole time. And here's where it connects to everything else on this channel. We keep finding the same thing. Value isn't a fact. It's a system with rules, and the people who understand the rules do dramatically better than the people who don't. De Beers understood scarcity while everyone else understood romance. Ty Warner understood bubbles while collectors understood cuteness. This one's different, though, and I want to be fair about it. There's no villain here. Nobody invented compounding to trick you. It's just math that was always running in the background, and the only real scandal is how few of us were ever told it exists. Two machines. One adds, one multiplies. That's it. That's the whole secret, and now you're not on the wrong side of it by accident. Honest question for the comments. Was any of this ever taught to you? At school? At home? Anywhere? Because I'd bet almost nobody says yes, and I'm curious how widespread that is.